all language uses frames, and in politics, frames form a hierarchy where the moral basis of the frame is most important. And one of the most important things to understand is that most people are morally complex. That is, they have some ideas that are conservative and some ideas that are progressive. They have both. How is that possible? In each case, their ideas are in the brain, and there's a phenomenon called mutual inhibition, where one neural circuit can turn off another, or the second can turn off the first. And that's how progressive and conservative moralities work. That is, most people are conservative in some ways and progressive in other ways. Conservatives have learned not to use the language of the left. They've learned not to move to the left in their positions. They keep to right-wing language, and the right wing has largely given language and ideas on every issue. You know, the simple example of George Bush using the language of tax relief. There's a relief frame where you have an affliction, an afflicted party who's harmed by that affliction, someone who takes the affliction away, who's a hero, good person, and somebody who tries to stop them is a bad person, okay? If you add tax to that, you say taxation is an affliction. That's a conservative idea with conservative moral basis. And if you repeat the terms tax relief over and over, they will get that idea in the circuitry of their brain, and it will activate conservative thought. What you find is that conservatism as an ideology is pretty much the same. But biconceptualism, that is, people who are partly conservative and partly progressive, is more normal here. That is, you have people who may be financially progressive but financially conservative but socially progressive, and so on. You have 8 parties, and they're largely biconceptual. Now, the question is, if you're progressive, how do you talk to people who are biconceptual? And the answer is, you talk your own language. That is, you want to activate the part of their brains that agrees with you. And if you use the language of the other side, if you use conservative language, then you're going to activate the part of the brain that disagrees with you. You know, that's a bad idea. The right wing has framed this issue, and they framed it as an issue that the Danish state is that Danes are too lazy, and that their laziness has caused the financial crisis. And the opposite is true. The financial crisis was caused by banks and corporations who were doing risky investments. So the solution is not to take away family days from workers, or to cut workers' wages or make them work more, but rather something else. The solution is to first be responsible to all of Denmark by insisting that the risky practices of banks end. And one way to do that is a risk management fee. This is wrongly called a tax, and that fee would be a fee on every time somebody buys a stock. It would be a small fee, a tiny fee, and it would mean that people could no longer just make risky investments at will. It would put the brakes on the risky investments and make the banks more responsible. That is, what we have now are irresponsible banks and corporations, and we need to make them responsible. In a democracy, you have a government which has certain moral missions, namely to protect and to empower everyone equally. And the government does this through the idea of the public. Any business that makes a lot of money is using the public. They're using roads that they didn't build. They're using workers that were educated by the public. They're using transportation systems that are there because of the public, or electricity that's provided by the public. In short, you cannot make any money, you cannot succeed at all in private business without the public. And therefore, businesses have a responsibility to help pay and repay the public for what they get from it. Now, conservatives don't believe that. Conservatives tend to believe that democracy gives them the liberty to pursue their own interests without being responsible for anyone else. So language is not neutral. And framing is not just words or language. Framing has to do with ideas. And what progressives need to do is to say what they believe and to create ideas that tell truths that conservatism is hiding. And that is the great challenge that progressives have.